Awards, the one and only Sister Bernice Jenkins.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Here's our church announcements this morning. Govern yourself. Govern yourself.
Just a nice old lady who used some very nice old gnarled hands to make life kind of nice for me at that time when I really needed somebody. And it wasn't after I got older and started to look around for things. It was before I even knew what I was looking for. And probably, since I consider myself somebody who writes primarily, out of all the things that I might have written, my favorite thing that I've written has to be about this favorite old lady of mine. Grandma's hand clapped in church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hands played a tambourine so well. Grandma's hands used to issue out a warning. She'd say, Billy, don't you run so fast. Might fall on a piece of glass. Might be snakes there in that grass. Grandma's hand. Eyes in Grandma's hands soothed the local unwed mother. Grandma's hands used to ache sometimes and swell. Whoa, Grandma's hands used to lift her face and tell her, she'd say, baby, Grandma understands that you really love that band. Put yourself in Jesus' hands. Grandma's hands. Eyes in Grandma's hands used to hand me a piece of candy. Grandma's hands picked me up each time I fell. Whoa, Grandma's hands. Boy, they really came in handy. She'd say, Matty, don't you whip that boy. What you wanna spank him for? He didn't drop no apple core, but I don't have Grandma anymore. If I get to heaven, I'll look for Grandma's hand.
I describe my grandmother, Magnolia Williams Lockett, a sweet lady. My grandfather was talkative. He was outgoing. He was the guy that never met a stranger. My grandmother was a little different. She was more on the quiet and reserved side. She was a little more cautious when dealing with people, but still very kind-hearted, still very compassionate and loving. She was especially loving towards her children and her grandchildren. She never ceased to let us know what a special place we held in her heart. When we would travel to Mississippi to visit our grandparents, my grandmother always made sure that the house was full of our favorite foods and our favorite beverages. I always liked grape juice, Welch's grape juice, and every time we went to Mississippi there was Welch's grape juice in the refrigerator. Neither one of them really cared for grape juice, but I cannot remember a time when I visited their home in Yazoo City, Mississippi, when there was not Welch's grape juice. And that's just a testimony of how much they cared about it.
Every day. And she just got married and she's back here again. Man,
How long she stayed when she come here?
5, 6 hours, one day 8, 9 hours.
That's a lot, honey. That's a lot. They sitting around.
Maggie! Lockett!
We got them things, we shut them down. We got them things, they look around you too. Daddy, look at you. Daddy, look at you. Looking like you.
Gee, Maggie, what you doing here? You came to see me.
I didn't even know you was up in his home.
Yeah.
Nobody could fry chicken better than my grandmother. She was an amazing woman. Her main ingredient was love. She was very wise. She always had stellar advice for her grandchildren. And one thing that she always taught me that sticks with me is one of her favorite sayings was, "To thine own self be true." And she always taught us that if you're going to do something, do it with all your might or don't do it at all. So those are things that my grandmother taught me that stick with me today.
It's an enjoy miracles of endurance, but they've not known miracles of conquest. But they're sweet saints. They're the ones that prayed us through. And so the Lord said, remind them of the hope. Some of them are just confused and disoriented. They don't even understand the music. They don't understand a lot of the things that have happened, that have changed, that are not what they are comfortable with. But they love Jesus with all their heart. And he loves them. And I love them too. They're grandparents and great-grandparents and aunts and uncles and mamas and daddies. Some of them are going to some little church they've been going to 40 years and ain't nobody there but them and 40 people. But that's all they know. But they're still the saints. And they still need to be reminded of a little bit of hope.
To live with God, all my troubles will be over, and I made a brand new start. It might be early in the morning when I get home. When my work on earth is done, I'm going home to live with God. All my troubles will be over, and I make a brand new start. In the morning when I rise, shake the dust off my feet and wipe my weeping eyes. It might be early in the morning when I get home. By and by, that day should come. Oh, by and by, I'll be somewhere round the throne. Oh, by and by, I'll sing a brand new song. It might be early in the morning when I get home. Oh, by and by, that day should come. Oh, by and by, I'll be somewhere round the throne. Oh, by and by, I'll sing a brand new song. It might be early in the morning when I get home.
Snapchat. Part of it.
No.
Now what am I supposed to do with this?
I've heard of it, yeah. Oh, I got kids.
Yes.
They live
That's
and die.
the only way you can communicate with your kids.
I don't use my phone much.
I'm not much of a phone user, but I've heard of it.
I still have a flip phone.
I limit myself with all this stuff. I don't try to get involved with all of it.
You just slide your finger like that on the phone, and you'll see different pictures.
Swipe. What do you mean swipe this way?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! That is
disgusting.
Isn't that cute?
Ooh. Horrid.
I'm sorry, y'all.
No.
Great head.
You've been hitting the line too much, honey.
I heard it through the grapevine.
Looks like I ought to be on the Fruit of the Loom underwear.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Her Serene Highness. I like this one.
Oh God, I've had a stroke.
He makes an awesome woman, actually.
Well, it's hard to describe ugly when you ain't ugly.
Now, why do people do this just for fun? My story. Now, why do people do this?
This doesn't have any permanent impact on my brain, does it?
That's enough of that.
Oh, that's why no one's head is up, looking up. They're always looking down.
I think they need to do more reading.
I think people don't have enough to do.
I agree.
I would rather spend my time doing something else.
So you'll put it on my phone and play with it.
I would say get a life. Read a book.
Exactly. Work.
Good idea.
What do you call this?
Snapchat.
Snap?
Yes, you messed it up and you were so impatient. So,
Atari, Donkey Kong.
Scrabble's not a video game.
Yeah, you can get that, can't you?
Have you guys heard of virtual reality?
Yes.
That's what you're gonna do.
You gotta be kidding.
Oh. Wait a minute.
What's his name?
I can't do it.
I'm usually not real good at these. I did take archery in college.
I think that's absolutely amazing. Amazing.
my grandfather, Mr. Leroy Red Lockett, and most people knew him by the name Red. Most people didn't even really know that his actual name was Leroy. He didn't really like that name anyway.
I guess, more so to say.
Are you sure we need to do this?
A nice man, such a kind-hearted man, and the influence that he had on me, I can't even find words to accurately describe what a great influence he had on me. I remember...
Yeah, like I'm getting closer and closer to it. Y'all trying to make me fall.
So when I did that, I moved from over there to over here.
Oh, this is gorgeous. How fun.
Goes like this. Shine on me. Sing it if you know it. Come on. Shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me. Oh yeah, come on. Shine on me. Oh, let the light from the lighthouse. Come on, get those hands up in the air, everybody sing it. Shine
And I was dying. But I had a praying grandmother, and I knew enough to call on the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. It wasn't a couple of days later that I was watching Christian television. And Grandma tells me she was laying on her face during this time, and she had been fasting for 2 weeks and just calling on the name of Jesus. Save my granddaughter. Save my granddaughter, Jesus.
My grandfather was talkative. He was outgoing. He was the guy that never met a stranger. My grandmother was a little different. She was more on the quiet and reserved side. She was a little more cautious when dealing with people, but still very kind-hearted, still very compassionate and loving. She was especially loving towards her children and her grandchildren. She never ceased to let us know what a special place we held in her heart. When we would travel to Mississippi to visit our grandparents, my grandmother always made sure that the house was full of our favorite foods and our favorite beverages. I always liked grape juice, Welch's grape juice, and every time we went to Mississippi there was Welch's grape juice in the refrigerator. Neither one of them really cared for grape juice, but I cannot remember a time when I visited their home in Yazoo City, Mississippi, when there was not Welch's grape juice. And that's just a testimony of how much they cared about their grandchildren. When my grandmother would cook a meal, she always made sure that all of her grandchildren had their favorite. When she would cook a big holiday meal, she would make sure that she cooked a roast because my brother Jeffrey loved roast. She would make sure that there was some kind of bird, a turkey, a chicken, or something, because I guess I love birds, you know. My brother Jarvis likes a little bit of everything, so he was easy to please. She always made that famous macaroni and cheese. She always, when we got ready to leave Mississippi and head back to Texas, she always fried up a batch of fried chicken, and that would be our meal to snack on during our 7-hour commute from Yazoo City back to Fort Worth, Texas. Nobody could fry chicken better than my grandmother. She was an amazing woman. I think she was a good cook because her main ingredient was love. She was very wise. She always had stellar advice for her grandchildren. And one thing that she always taught me that sticks with me is one of her favorite sayings was, "To thine own self be true." And she always taught us that if you're going to do something, do it with all your might or don't do it at all. So those are things that my grandmother taught me that stick with me today. One of my favorite memories of my grandmother, because she was quiet and reserved, but she was so comical. I remember one time, me and my niece Deanna were down there and we wanted some pudding. And my grandmother said, I'll fix it for you later. Well, we were in a rush. We wanted our pudding right away. So we called ourselves making some pudding. And we thought it was instant pudding, but it was the kind that you have to go through all the processes and steps with. So it turned out real bad. And our grandmother said, you're going to eat that there pudding since you messed it up and you were so impatient. So that was a rough experience because it was nasty and it made our stomachs hurt. But, you know, me and my niece still laugh about that. So, when your stomach hurt because you're hungry, can you really do good on your math problems? Can you do good on your reading? Do you feel like dancing and having fun? No, because you want to eat. But you know, some kids don't have food to eat. So because you have food to eat, you're blessed. That's a good thing. But just to celebrate Hunger Awareness Month, I wanted to make sure that y'all had some snacks this weekend. And I wanted y'all to have healthy snacks. How many of y'all like bananas?
No, yes. I don't like bananas.
Okay, so everybody don't like bananas. But who likes apples? who likes oranges? Okay, so who likes the little Kool-Aid packs? So everybody's gonna get a bag that has the Kool-Aid pack, apple, orange, and a banana. And if you don't like bananas, don't throw it away. You think your mommy likes bananas?
Yeah.
Mommy, sister, brother. That way, somebody is getting a healthy snack. And why do people eat fruit and vegetables? What does it do?
It makes you strong.
Strong and healthy. And so, when y'all grow up, like 12, 13 years from now, and you finish high school, are you going to be real strong and healthy?
Yeah. Girls don't be strong, boys do.
Girls can be strong. You don't want to be strong?
No.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is when Miss Mother says it's time to dismiss, I'm going to stand at the door and we're going to make sure each one of you get a bag.
Turn around.
That was just so y'all can go home. And you don't have to eat your snack right now. You can eat it tomorrow or you can save it for Sunday or whatever. But whenever your stomach starts rumbling and you start like, oh man, I'm hungry, just grab your apple or grab your orange. And that was just my gift for you. It's not a whole lot, but I wanted y'all to have something. You gonna eat yours now? Okay, I'm hungry too.
What do y'all say? Mr. Johnson.
All right. Well, I hope y'all have a good weekend. You got 3 days to rest because you don't have to come to school Monday. What you gonna do tonight? You going outside? What you gonna do outside? You gonna play games? So when y'all go outside, what do y'all do outside? Do you play?
We play swings and everything. And we run in. We don't have swings on our playground. Oh, me either. No. Me either. I don't have swings. I have swings.
Do y'all play hide and seek?
Yes, I do. I got a pool. I
So, I got one more question before we give you the bag.
I got a pool on my dad inside. I got something.
What?
I got something. I be jumping.
So, who likes to run? So, if I come one day next week, when y'all have recess, you think Miss Smothers will let us go outside and run and see if y'all can beat me running?
Yeah! I can do that. That's easy.
Who thinks they can beat me running?
Me! I'm the fastest one.
Okay, well I'll be back. That's a challenge. Y'all think you can beat me running? Yes.
Alana.
So I'm gonna come back and we're gonna see who can beat me running. Okay? All right. So we're gonna get ready to pass out your bags. Is it time to go yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Active listening position.
See, my grandfather, Mr. Leroy Red Lockett, and most people knew him by the name Red. Most people didn't even really know that his actual name was Leroy. He didn't really like that name anyway. They called him Red because he had red hair and, he was very, very fair skinned, and he had these funny looking hazel, greenish, brownish looking color eyes. We still don't know what color they were. But he had a very strong personality. When he walked into a room, he owned it. I mean, he made his presence known. he was one of those brothers that had, you know, a little soul in his stroll, a little glide in his stride. You know, he was a force to be reckoned with. But he was a kind-hearted man. He was a compassionate man. He was very talkative and friendly. Never really met a stranger. And most people liked him. Most people respected him because he commanded respect. He was the type of person that you knew he wasn't taking a bunch of foolishness. So you knew when you dealt with him that it was strictly business, and you know, you didn't have to love him or like him, but you were definitely going to respect him. Otherwise, there would be consequences. But again, he was such a nice man, such a kind-hearted man, and the influence that he had on me, I can't even find words to accurately describe what a great influence he had on me. I remember sitting under their magnolia tree, and he would be studying his Sunday school lesson. He was a Sunday school teacher, Sunday school superintendent, and he was a Bible scholar. And he would sit there and we would talk about the goodness of the Lord, and he would share passages from the Bible with me. I mean, and that started when I was a little kid. And even now that I'm 50 years old, I still remember those conversations and how he poured into my life, invested into my life, and his presence is always with me. I remember conversations that I had with him that really changed my whole outlook on him as a person. I always thought he was larger than life. I thought that he was so tough that he could never be vulnerable. But later in life, he shared with me sometimes when he was vulnerable, when he did have weak moments, when he did almost let go. But his faith in God kept him. And him sharing his vulnerability really helped me to be a stronger person. So even though my grandfather passed away over 15 years ago, the impact that he has had on my life can still be felt today. So hats off to you, Mr. Lockett, my grandfather, Red. You never cease to amaze me, and I'll always love you. Thank you for being you. Good morning. My name is Jerome Carlos Johnson. I'm the founder and the CEO of Lockett Family Charitable Foundation. I founded this organization for the purpose of helping to improve the quality of life for families that are struggling and living in poverty. I especially want to help children who are in dire circumstances that prevent them from being all that they can be and achieving their goals. So September is a very special month to me because, number one, my birthday is in September, but more importantly, September is Hunger Awareness and Action Month. There are a lot of kids in this world who aren't able to function properly because they don't get enough food to eat. And we talk about how our kids are not performing well in school, and just take a few minutes to think about how well do you perform when you haven't eaten. When you're hungry, how do you perform? As for me, when you ask me the question or you make the statement, when I am hungry, I can't, and then you say fill in the blank. For me, when I'm hungry, I can't concentrate. I can't focus. I can't be the best that I can be. And truthfully, when I'm hungry, I'm a very mean person. I'm not a fun person to be around. And I think if you were really honest, you would admit the same is true about you. So, again, September is Hunger Awareness and Hunger Action Month. Let's do something about hunger. Let's help these kids. I'm asking you to help Lockett Family Charitable Foundation help children who are not living in the best of circumstances. We have kids who basically only get a good meal when they're at school. And so that makes you wonder, what do they do over the weekend? So I'm asking you to make a donation to our charitable foundation so that we can continue to help children. Currently, I've been going out to different schools, providing snacks for some of the kids, and I've been doing Fresh Fruit Friday this month, and so every month this Friday I will be providing fresh fruits to some of these children who are, you know, just having a difficult time. And so I'm asking you to reach way down in your heart and your soul and think about what these kids go through every day. Think about how you act, how you respond to hunger, how you treat other people when you're hungry, how you perform your job when you're hungry. So please make a donation to our foundation. I promise you that it will be used for the right reasons, and that's simply to help kids. To me, children are the greatest resource in this country, and so I'm asking you again to just reach deep down in your heart and help these kids out by making a contribution to our foundation so that we can continue our journey towards eliminating hunger and helping our children to achieve the goals that they set. Thank you.